The last message. The stars above the burned planet of Charon no longer twinkled. Ash and smoke filled the sky, casting everything below in a dim gray light. Ships, broken and blackened, floated in orbit, once proud defenders of the Kharani people, now only reminders of their fall. Commander Lin stared out of the viewing window on the observation deck of the station orbiting Earth. His fingers trembled slightly, even though he had faced war before. This wasn't just another battle report. It was something worse, something different. A broken message repeated on the screen. A voice, wounded, shaking, barely spoke the words. To any who hear this, we plead for mercy. The humans, the Deathworlders, they are not like us. Stop them, please. Then static. The room behind Lin was silent. Leaders of various species stood frozen, their faces pale and speechless. Even the proud Virex ambassador, who once called Earth a noisy green rock, was silent. Earth had always been strange to the galaxy. Dangerous, yes, but controlled. When humans first stepped into space, they followed the rules. They made trade deals, formed weak alliances, and mostly kept to themselves. But something had changed. 2 weeks ago, a coalition of alien nations had attacked one of Earth's border colonies. It was meant to be a warning, a show of power. Earth was expanding too fast, taking too much space. The Kharani led the charge, thinking they'd earn praise from the Galactic Council. But the Deathworlders didn't respond with diplomacy. They responded with silence. Then, ships. Lin watched the footage again. Earth's warships didn't arrive in a swarm. They arrived one by one, each one deadlier than the last. Their hulls were black and quiet, as if they didn't belong to this universe. No lights, no banners, just weapons. Cold and precise. The Kharani begged for surrender after just 2 hours of fighting. They got no answer. Lin finally turned to the room. This isn't just a war, it's a message, he said. Earth isn't coming for peace. They're not asking for justice. They're bringing wrath. The old Ikari priest beside him coughed lightly. They warned us long ago, he whispered. Earth is a death world. Their people are born in storms and survive where others die. We taught them fear. Now, they teach it back. On the edge of the solar system, deep scanners picked up new movement. Another Earth ship, bigger than the last ones. Its name translated loosely to one word: judgment. The council had no time left. Far away, hidden in their bunkers, the remaining Kharani leaders tried sending new pleas. Messages filled with sorrow, with regret. But the Deathworlders didn't answer. They were already on their way. Judgment in orbit, the Kharani capital, once a shining city of towers and green domes, was now silent. What remained of their leaders gathered inside a deep underground chamber, protected by layers of rock and shield generators. They had never imagined needing such a place, not until the humans came. General Mara stood in the dim light, her voice hoarse as she gave orders to what was left of the Kharani defense. Power the last cannons. Divert energy to orbital shields. We hold them back, even if it's just for one more day. But her words felt empty. Everyone in the room knew it. Above them, the sky split open. The human ship named Judgment appeared, without warning. It didn't exit from hyperspace like normal ships. It didn't ripple through the stars. It simply arrived. 1 second, nothing. The next, a massive shadow blocking out the upper atmosphere. It didn't look like a warship. It looked like a mountain made of darkness and fire, shaped by something more ancient than logic. No windows, no clear engines. It hovered in place, not moving, not firing. It was waiting. Kharani defense satellites locked onto the target, launching plasma bolts and ion lances. Bright flashes lit the sky, but Judgment didn't move. It didn't raise shields. The attack simply vanished, absorbed into its black hull as if they never existed. Inside the ship, no commands were shouted, no panic, just silence. Captain Drew stood in the command circle. He didn't wear medals. His uniform was plain, only marked with one symbol, Earth's emblem, a circle of flame around a single star. Scan complete, the ship's AI voice said calmly. Civilian shelters located. Military command center identified. Drew didn't blink. Lock onto the command center. Target locked. Awaiting your command. Outside, the ship's underbelly opened. The Karani soldiers looked up from their trenches and bunkers, expecting fire, missiles, or beams of light. But what fell were small, fast, and burning like silver rain, pods, thousands of them. Each one carried a human soldier, and Deathworlders didn't land with grace. They came, like thunder. The Karani command center shook as boots hit the ground. Their scanners failed. Communication lines died. Power grids collapsed as EMP bursts spread across the city. General Mara stared at the black screens around her. "They've cut everything," she whispered. "We can't even surrender." Above, Judgment still waited, watching. It had not fired a single shot, because it didn't need to. The ground trembled. The first Karani soldiers who saw the humans didn't even have time to raise their weapons. The pods cracked open like iron eggs, and from each one stepped a figure in heavy black armor. Their eyes glowed faintly through dark visors. No names, no symbols, just silence and movement. They didn't shout. They didn't threaten. They didn't ask for surrender. They moved forward like machines with hearts made of ice. Captain Drew's voice echoed in every Deathworlder's helmet. "You know what they did. Show them who we are." It wasn't just about the colony Earth had lost. It was about the children buried under glass. The cities turned to dust. The broken promises of peace. And Earth remembered. In the ruined streets of the capital, General Mara tried to rally her troops. "Don't let them through the core gate," she screamed. "Hold the line," but nothing could stop them. A squad of humans stormed through the city wall, walking straight through burning wreckage as if fire meant nothing. One Karani soldier tried to flee, tossing his weapon aside and running. The nearest Deathworlder didn't shoot him. He just watched, then turned, and kept moving forward. That was the worst part. The humans didn't kill without reason. But when they decided someone was guilty, there was no escape, no chance to beg, no place to hide. A young Karani technician, barely more than a child, huddled inside a crashed transport. His hands covered his ears as the sounds of battle raged around him, screams, energy blasts, and the heavy steps of approaching boots. The metal door opened slowly. The boy looked up into the dark visor of a human soldier. The soldier stood still, scanning the boy, no weapon raised. "No threat," a soft voice said inside the helmet. "Civilian. Leave him." The soldier closed the door gently and moved on. But others were not so lucky. In the Council's old war tower, the remaining Karani commanders were found. They didn't even try to fight. They begged. They cried. They offered trade, secrets, promises. The humans gave no reply. One by one, each commander was marked, judged, and vanished. From orbit, the ship Judgment remained quiet. It didn't fire. It only watched, recording everything, letting the galaxy see what Earth truly was when pushed too far. Later that night, in a broken alley lit only by firelight, a Karani survivor whispered to another, "They don't destroy cities. They destroy hope." Messages in the ashes. The Karani homeworld was quiet now. Not because the war was over, but because resistance had vanished. The humans had taken the city block by block. They didn't burn everything. They didn't wipe out civilians. Instead, they did something far more terrifying. They let the Karani see. In the center of the capital, on the stairs of the old palace, a massive hologram flickered into life. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a warning. It was a replay. The human, captain's voice echoed through the streets. "This is what you did." Images filled the sky. Footage of the colony Earth had lost 2 weeks ago. A peaceful farming world, green and untouched. Children laughing in fields. Families building homes. Then came the fire. Alien ships raining plasma down on homes. Civilians screaming. Bodies buried under rubble. The Karani saw their own ships doing it, their own leaders giving the order, and then one final shot. A human child, holding a toy, standing still as flames, rose around her. Then darkness. The hologram shut off. In one moment, the truth hit the Karani people like a storm. It was no longer war. It was punishment. High above, inside the human warship judgment, Captain Drew sat quietly. "Are the remaining council members located?" "Yes," the AI replied. 4 cities, all underground bunkers, shielded, but not hidden. "Send the drones. Begin the final phase." Back on the surface, the humans didn't celebrate. No cheers, no music, just movement. Deathworlders didn't fight for pride. They fought for memory. A young Karani girl peeked from the ruins, watching as human medics tended to injured civilians. They gave food. They gave water. They protected the weak, but their eyes never lost that cold fire. One old Karani elder, once a strong voice in their culture, fell to his knees before a squad of humans. We didn't know," he whispered. "We were told you were monsters." The human commander looked down at him, voice calm but unshaking. "We became what you needed us to be." The elder wept. At that same moment, across a dozen other worlds, the same message echoed: Earth remembers. Earth mourns, Earth judges, and this time, mercy would not be found. Echoes across the stars. News of the Karani collapse spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, screens in alien cities displayed the same footage: dark human ships hovering above Karan, whole fleets grounded without, firing a single missile, and the burning eyes of the soldiers from Earth, unforgiving, unyielding. Leaders of other worlds gathered in hidden chambers, their voices panicked and trembling. They didn't use planet killers. They didn't need to. They let the people live, but they shattered everything else. They don't fight like us. The council members of the Talari Republic, once firm allies of the Karani, began to erase all records of their support. They didn't want to be next. In the mining systems of Torga 9, ships changed their flight paths to avoid Earth territory, even trade routes that had stood for decades. The message was clear: Deathworlders didn't forget. On a space station orbiting the neutral planet Zarnath, an ambassador tried to contact Earth's communication channel. He spoke nervously. "This is Ambassador Vorek of the Zarnath Accord. We acknowledge Earth's strength. We offer peace, gifts, and future alliance." There was silence on the other end. Then a human voice responded. "We are not here for gifts." Vorek swallowed hard. "Then what do you want?" The answer came with no emotion. "We want them to remember." Meanwhile, on the remains of Kiran, the human soldiers finished their task. Not a single military outpost was left standing. Every bunker was opened. Every council member who gave the order to attack Earth's colony was found. No trial, no speech, just action. And still, not one human took pleasure in it. They didn't laugh. They didn't destroy out of hate. They destroyed because it was necessary. Captain Drew stood once more at the observation deck of the Judgment, looking down on the broken world below. "Mission complete," the AI said softly. "Retribution delivered." He didn't answer, because he knew it wasn't over. This wasn't the only world that had stood by when Earth was attacked. There were others. There were witnesses. And silence, to a Deathworlder, meant guilt. The quiet march one week after Karen fell, a second world surrendered. They hadn't been attacked. No ships approached. No threats were made. But when they saw the images, when they saw how Earth responded to betrayal, they sent a message of surrender before the humans even called their name. "We were pressured into helping the Karani," their leaders said. "We sent fuel, not weapons. We never wanted war." The message reached the Earth Council. No reply came. Instead, a single human transport ship arrived in their orbit, slow and silent. It did not carry weapons. It carried observers. The humans walked through cities with calm expressions, scanning data, collecting names, visiting places where decisions were made. They asked no questions. They gave no explanations. Then they left. 2 days later, the fuel merchants who helped supply the Karani warships disappeared. No one claimed responsibility. But the galaxy understood. Earth's war had changed. It wasn't about ships and bombs now. It was about memory. Each planet that had taken part in the betrayal began to fear, not that their worlds would burn, but that Earth would visit them in silence, judge them, and vanish. On the planet Esperon, a famous historian gave a speech in a grand chamber. "Deathworlders do not speak like we do," he said. "They do not wave flags or sing songs of revenge. They move like time itself. Quiet, cold and unstoppable. And when they come, they bring no flames, they bring shame and truth." His words echoed across hundreds of news channels. Meanwhile, in the heart of Earth's solar system, new ships were being built, sleek, black, and silent. Captain Drew was assigned to one of them, the Echo of Silence. He stood in the hangar, staring at its curved hull shaped not for beauty but for fear. "This one isn't for war," he said to the technician beside him. "Then what is it for?" the technician asked. Drew looked at him. "It's for those who watched and did nothing." The lesson, the galaxy held its breath. No new invasions came. No more ships descended from orbit. But the fear didn't fade. It grew stronger. Because now Earth didn't need to attack. Their silence did more than any weapon could. In distant space, the ship Echo of Silence arrived near the planet Venari Prime, one of the oldest and wealthiest members of the Galactic Council. Their leaders had once laughed at Earth, calling humans barely spaceworthy. Now they sent a message filled with apologies, gifts, and promises to support Earth's interests. The ship did not respond. It simply parked in high orbit. It stayed there, watching. One Venari child asked her teacher, "Why don't the humans say anything?" The teacher, old and tired, replied, "Because we already know what they would say. We just don't want to hear it." On Earth, in a chamber deep beneath the human capital, the Earth Council met in silence. No parades, no joy. Just files, names of those who betrayed them. Systems that helped the Karani. Records of who watched and did nothing. They weren't hunting revenge anymore. They were hunting trust. Above the skies of many worlds, humans now walked in plain view. Not invaders, not conquerors, just witnesses. They didn't bring armies. They brought records, files, footage, names. A whisper spread across starports and colonies. The humans are watching. Trade routes shifted toward Earth. Treaties were rewritten to favor the humans. Cultures that once mocked Deathworlders began studying Earth's history, trying to understand what shaped a species that could show such power without even speaking. In schools across the stars, new lessons began. Do not lie to Deathworlders. Do not strike first. Do not mistake their silence for weakness, because when Earth finally did speak, it wasn't with words. It was with fire, with judgment, and then silence. And the galaxy would never forget it.